What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video here on B Mills Wrestling. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my full SummerSlam Night 1 reaction. Before we get into the video, if you guys are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. And don't forget to leave a like down below. Alright guys, let's get into the video. To kick off SummerSlam, we had the tag team match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And, I wasn't too excited for this match. I was excited to obviously see Roman Reigns in this match, see Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed get a nice spotlight on the SummerSlam card, but I didn't expect too much from it because there wasn't really any stakes for this match. Obviously, it wasn't main eventing. I know a lot of people were throwing around the rumor that it was going to main event, so I thought something crazy was kind of going to happen in the match. But, with it kicking off the show, I just expected Roman and Jey to win this, in which they did. I fully expected Roman Reigns to win this match because I didn't expect him to make his return and then lose to Braun and Bronson. That just didn't make sense to me at any point in time. I knew they were going to win this match, and they ended up winning. I thought the match was okay. I don't think the match was groundbreaking or anything to drool over, but it was a solid tag team match. I thought, there was a couple of cool moments in the match, especially when Roman did the dive over the top rope, that front flip. That was crazy. He kind of overshot it a little bit. It looked like he was okay, though. I know Braun Breaker had a little bit of a knee injury in this match. He was seen, getting help to the back after this match, so I hope that he is okay, because obviously he is on a absolute heater right now within WWE. He's obviously probably the top young guy that they have, so, and especially involved in the whole storyline with the Seth Rollins faction of Paul Heyman. Don't want to see him go out with a serious injury, so hopefully that's not too bad. But like I said, Roman and Jey Uso, they pick up this win in this match. The next match on this Night 1 SummerSlam card was Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez defending their tag team titles against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Now, I was kind of excited for this match because I was, hoping that we would see new champions in Alexa and Charlotte, because I feel like the storyline between them has been really good. This whole we're not friends thing, but obviously they are friends now. I've been loving this whole storyline, and I think that, SummerSlam, this was the perfect time to put the titles on them, and they do. Charlotte and Alexa Bliss do become the next women's tag team champions. This was a solid match as well. I don't think, once again with the other tag team match, I don't think it was groundbreaking, but I think it did its job. It was a solid match. Got to showcase the young star in Roxanne Perez, which I think is huge. This is her first SummerSlam, so just props to her. Obviously, Raquel looked good in the match. Alexa and Charlotte looked good in the match. Thought it was a solid match that, like I said, did its job, and I think the right winners came out on top in this match. That's the biggest thing I look at when I look at these SummerSlam matches. Did the right winner win? And I think the right winners did win in this match. Charlotte and Alexa are going to elevate this tag division more than it ever has been. Obviously, the tag division, for the women, it's been a little dead for a little while, ever since Bianca and Jade held those titles. Now, I think with Charlotte and Alexa being the new champions, you can really tell a good story with them being the champions. And I really could see them holding these titles for a long time. I really don't want to see them drop them anytime soon. This is a super team. Obviously, I expect Raquel and Roxanne to probably get a rematch at some point. But, like I said, Charlotte and Alexa, your new women's tag team champions. Moving on to the next match on this card, we had Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I didn't care for this match, and I just wasn't all too impressed by the match itself. Obviously, it's good to see Karrion Kross make it on the SummerSlam, but, this feels like the end for him. Obviously, his contract, is up, and, it doesn't look like they're going to extend his contract. It looks like this is it. The way that I can tell this is because he lost this match. I think that, if he was going to get re-signed, I think this would have been a good match for him to win and then maybe cause a Sami Zayn heel turn. That's what this whole storyline has been about. But Sami Zayn, he stays on the good side. Obviously, we see in this match Scarlett throw in the pipe for Sami Zayn to use on Karrion Kross to turn to the dark side, right? He doesn't do that. He throws the pipe out of the ring. He beats Karrion Kross clean. It wasn't a great match. It was kind of a short match. Like I said, I just didn't care for it because there wasn't really, any stakes other than Sami staying a good guy or turning heel, which he stayed a good guy, which is kind of the boring, option. But obviously, this also didn't have a stipulation. I thought a stipulation would have been huge for this match. I just wasn't interested in seeing a normal one-on-one between Sami and Kross for the third time. I feel like they could have done something like this on Monday Night Raw. Just didn't feel necessary for SummerSlam. But in the end, Sami Zayn picks up the win versus Karrion Kross. Moving on to the next match on the card, we had Tiffany Stratton defend her Women's WWE Championship against the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill. this was the match that caught me off guard completely because Tiffany Stratton retained her title in this match. I was full on, set thinking that Jade Cargill was going to be the new women's champion. It made sense to me. I thought, Tiffany, she had a long 210 plus day reign. Obviously a lot of her feuds haven't been too good. She hasn't had the best matches with her opponents. So it just felt like they were going to, pull the trigger on Jade because they've been giving Jade such a big push since WrestleMania, getting that singles match winning, and she's just been winning and winning and winning, and, obviously became the queen of the ring. And usually, when we see people win king or queen of the ring, they go on to win the title at SummerSlam, right? But that's not the case. We see Jade Cargill lose, and this was not a long match at all. I thought with the time they were given, they did put on a decent match, but this was like a 5 to 7 minute match at most, maybe. It was a very short match, and I'm a little disappointed because we're gonna get into the next match, but the fact that the Jelly Roll match was like 10 times longer than this match was just unbelievable. This is the women's WWE Championship. Like, this is the prize, right? Like, this is the top prize for the women's division. And, like, it's just been short match after short match, bad storyline. This wasn't a good storyline at all between Jade and Tiffany Stratton. Everything about this just wasn't good. Like I said, like, no storyline, no real feud, no real, like, anger towards each other out of these two. And then the match was just, like I said, like 5-6 minutes. It wasn't a long match at all. Just super disappointed because I would have liked to see them at least cook up a good 10 to 15 minute match, and hopefully that would make up for the lack of feud. I'm not mad at Tiffany Stratton retaining the title. I hope that she can go on to have better feuds and better matches as her title reign goes on. I think an option they could go with is Jade Cargill turning heel and then continuing the storyline between Jade and Tiffany Stratton. Maybe because there was a lack of a story going into SummerSlam, maybe they did that because they want Jade to turn heel. I'm not too sure. I wouldn't mind that at all, but I just hope that Tiffany Stratton can pick up her title reign after SummerSlam. Now let's get into the tag team match between Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. I was not excited for this match going into it either, kind of with a few of these matches on night one, but obviously I just was disappointed that Randy and Drew were put into a match with Jelly Roll, a rapper or country music artist, whatever he is. I just didn't want to see this, right? I wanted to see Randy and Drew involved in a bigger match and storyline going into SummerSlam, maybe even the world title picture. But that was not the case. We got this tag team match, whether we wanted it or not, and I just, it was not that good. I think that making this match as long as it was, and then, giving Tiffany and Jade like a 6-minute match, it's just disrespectful in my opinion. I thought this match just went on way too long. I will say I'm very intrigued and confused by the ending. I did not think that they were going to have Randy Orton, who is like one of the most beloved guys and veterans within the company and a fan favorite, obviously, and Jelly Roll, who's the celebrity in the match. I did not think they were going to have them lose to Logan and Drew. I'm not mad at it, though. Logan Paul ends up pinning Jelly Roll in this match. I just didn't see it coming. I thought for sure this was ending with Jelly Roll pinning Logan Paul. I didn't think Randy or Drew were going to take the pins in this match. I thought this was just going to be about the celebrity moment between Jelly Roll pinning Logan Paul, the guy who called him out. But no, Logan Paul, he pins Jelly Roll in this match and Logan and Drew win. But like I said, I'm not mad at it because, okay, maybe you go somewhere with Logan after this match. I thought him losing to Jelly Roll would have kind of killed his credibility a little bit. So maybe they are planning on doing something bigger with him going in the future. I'm not sure. There was a couple of cool moments in the match, like Logan Paul frog splashing on a Jelly Roll, from the top rope onto the announce table. That was friggin' awesome. But like overall, just wasn't like a great match. Obviously you had that moment of Jelly Roll acting like he was getting taken to the back with an injury after that frog splash, and then he comes back and he tags in. It's just like whatever. Like, it doesn't get me going. I'm not a big Jelly Roll guy, at all. So I didn't really care for it, to be honest with you. But in the end, Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre surprisingly win this match. Okay, now let's get into the main event of SummerSlam Night 1. Gunther defending his World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk. Obviously, the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing promos between CM Punk and Gunther. I've been hyped for this match. I know a lot of people will say that they don't feel like this is a real feud because, I guess they're not talking about CM Punk's, Gunther's not talking about CM Punk's past, right, and him leaving WWE, because I think that's what people are used to now, is the fact that, whoever CM Punk's feuding with, that's what happens, right, with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, with them both. But I was, like, refreshed to see this type of feud where it's just strictly about who's the best wrestler in the world between CM Punk and Gunther. I was invested in this storyline. I really liked it, and I was excited for this match because I thought their styles were very similar, and I think that panned out in this match. I think a lot of people were disappointed with the early goings of this match because it was very slow-paced, but that's just what you're going to get. Gunther and Punk are just two slow-paced wrestlers. That's just how they operate. I enjoyed the match. I thought there was good tactical wrestling early on. Obviously, Gunther dominated a lot of this match. He was hitting Punk with, I don't know how many chops. We got to get a chop counter because he hit CM Punk with literally probably at least 30 chops in this match. He was straight up just dominating CM Punk in this match with a sleeper hold, a ton of big boots, just like spamming his finishers, power bombs. I thought that for sure that he was just going to maybe like dominate CM Punk and win this match. But no, we see CM Punk power back in this match. We actually see him take Gunther's legs out from underneath him on the announce table. Then we would see, the camera pan to CM Punk as he's sitting on the floor. I was kind of wondering what was going on in that moment. I didn't know if like CM Punk was actually hurt, but it was because Gunther was getting himself ready. He got bloody in this match, which in my opinion didn't really make the most sense because CM Punk just like swept his legs. I don't know where exactly would have hit his head, but either way, I guess it was cool to see some blood in this match. I thought it could have been executed a little better, but overall, I was fine with it. Then we see them get back in the ring. We see CM Punk build up some momentum. Then he ends up hitting with Gunther with not just one, but two go-to-sleeps, and then he pins Gunther for the 1-2-3 and becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. I was super happy. I was in attendance for SummerSlam, just seeing CM Punk become World Heavyweight Champion. Super emotional. Obviously he hasn't been champion in over a decade with WWE, so this was just such an awesome moment to see. Like, he deserves this so much ever since coming back to WWE in 2023. He's worked his ass off. He's been, in my opinion, the best superstar in WWE. He's had the best feuds, and I just felt like he deserved that so much. Was just so happy to see him raise that title. But what happens when he raises the title? We hear "Burn It Down." Seth Rollins makes his way out with Paul Heyman holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's still walking on his crutches. He has his brace on his knee. So you're kind of thinking for a moment, okay, he's just sending a message like, oh, I still have this briefcase, and, when I am cleared, I am going to cash in. I didn't buy that for a damn second. They wouldn't have done that if it was just a tease, him doing it in the future. He turns around, he stops all of a sudden, and then he throws both of his crutches and takes off the knee brace. Then he grabs the contract, takes off his jacket, runs down to the ring, and beats up CM Punk with the Money in the Bank briefcase, hits him over the back, over the head with it at least probably 5 times. CM Punk obviously went through that grueling match with Gunther, and there was just no way he was surviving this. We see Seth Rollins cash in his briefcase and stomp CM Punk. Seth Rollins is the new World Heavyweight Champion. I can't say that I didn't see this coming. Obviously, in my heart, I thought that it was a real injury, but obviously a little part of me was like, okay, this probably is a work, because there was just no details of this injury for Seth Rollins. There was no updates. There was no timelines. Nothing got released about it. I just thought the whole thing was fishy, and I was like, yeah, he's probably gonna cash in at SummerSlam. But this was a cool moment. This was executed really well. I am very happy about this. The people calling it predictable are just marks. They're just never happy or satisfied with anything. This was awesome, because if Seth Rollins they didn't do this injury angle with LA Knight at Saturday Night's Main Event, we would have seen it coming a mile away, because with Punk going into this match against Gunther, obviously they would have probably done teases with Seth Rollins coming out telling CM Punk is going to cash in. And would you rather have that, or would you rather have this, where you think Seth Rollins is hurt but he's actually not? This was just so well done. If you're ever going to do a fake injury, this is how it should be done. This was executed so damn perfectly. He did tell CM Punk he's never going to hold a world championship as long as he's breathing, and he stayed true to that. CM Punk only was champion for 5 minutes, so obviously that's funny because of the whole Drew McIntyre being champion for 5 minutes and CM Punk costing him. I'm sure that'll be something Drew says in this promo on SmackDown. But yeah, Seth Rollins is the new champion. I was super heartbroken to see CM Punk lose, because if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think CM Punk wins it back. I would really love if CM Punk did win it back. I just don't think that's a storyline. I think that was going to be CM Punk's moment, and that's the last time we're going to see him hold a world title in WWE, which is sad to say. But I think that, Seth is going to have a good reign as champion. Maybe Punk gets a rematch, but I don't think he wins. And I think we go on to see Seth hold that belt to probably at least WrestleMania 42. As for the feuds, he could probably have an LA Knight feud going into Clash in Paris. I'm excited for that. LA Knight does have a win over him, whether Seth gave him that or not, for the injury, the fake injury. Obviously, there's, more storylines, like a babyface John Cena, perhaps, if he's still the champion come Crown Jewel. If he's still a babyface, we'll see with that. But either way, I'm super excited. This was an awesome main event. As for the entire SummerSlam Night 1, I'm not really that happy with it. I'm not going to lie. I think the right winners did win. But, overall, I think the main event carried. I think that when I look at the first 5 matches on this card, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10, and I'd give the main event a 10 out of 10. So overall, I would say maybe a 7 out, a 7. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think a 7.5 out of 10 for SummerSlam Night 1. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash the thumbs up down below. Don't forget to comment down below what future videos you guys want to see from me. Also guys, Night 2 SummerSlam reaction is coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Alright guys, peace.